Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome, Energetic Life Now, friends and family around the world. We are so excited that you are here joining us today. Whether this is your first time tuning in, you're a returner, or you're catching a replay, just want to send you a very, very warm Energetic Life Now welcome. Today's broadcast is being shown around the world on the Spanglish world and H.E.R networks on Zingo TV channel 250, 251. Remember, the app is free for iOS and Android devices. Just hop on there, download it, leave us a like and comment. We would greatly appreciate it. The app is free, of course, and also available on the Google Chromecast, the Amazon Fire TV sticks, Roku sticks, and on all smart TVs 2016 and forward. Man, that seems like so long ago, 2016. I don't even remember what happened back in 2016. But the fact of the matter is this: on our Energetic Life Now show today, it is my distinct honor and privilege to welcome two of the most amazing megapreneurs I have ever met in my entire life. And they are sisters. And oh my gosh, I can't even wait for us to dive into what we have today to offer you, to share with you about how absolutely amazing these two fabulous ladies are. Not only are they my master coaches and mentors, but they're my dear friends as well. And so I want to welcome you two both to the show. Thank you so much for being here. What's happening? What's shaking? How's everybody doing?
Well, hello, Eric, and thank you so much for having us. Hello to everyone watching. Now, Eric says that we're the most amazing thing ever, but no way, Mr. Stenlake, that's you. Come on now. And for all of your followers here who are committed to living a more energetic life, right? This is the Energetic Life Now show. Shila and I pride ourselves on the energy that we bring forward, and we're just so thrilled to have the opportunity to add value to you today.
Right. We're so grateful to get to join you and this amazing global audience around the world. Now, you said we're amazing, and Kate, you said Eric's amazing, but really, I hope that we get to get into how amazing each and every one of our viewers is and our listeners today, because there's so much potential and so much untapped energy source within all of us that we have that we can use to our benefit and flow in directions that help us increase our impact and our influence. And we know that's what so many of you who are watching a show like this are really after. So thanks for having us here today, Eric. We're delighted to be here.
Oh, my absolute pleasure. Now, friends and family, like, listen, I don't think you understand the level of excitement that I'm having right now. And I can tell you that my magnetic energy is just a buzz, because having these two fabulous, fabulous sisters and dear friends of mine here today is a long time in coming. We had scheduled a few shows. They didn't work out. And as Shai said a minute ago, it was divine timing. And because as we get into the story of their history of megapreneurship, this is going to blow your minds. And I'm so thrilled that you guys are here. And thank you again for being here. So, sisters, you guys, let's go back a few years ago to when you were, I think you were in like 9, 10, 15 years old, somewhere in that realm. There was something happening with your amazing family that was paving the way for your success and the milestones that you have reached today. Way back then, unforeseen, but you took a chance on something really, really big. So let's tell our audience a little bit about what I'm talking about.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you, Eric. Yes, when I was of the tender age of 10 and Shy at the sharp age of 17, our parents made what we like to call a Nevada style bet. We are here in Reno, Nevada. They cashed in their savings in retirement, called in every family favor they had, pushed in all the chips onto the table, and bet the whole family farm on what was at the time a failing breakfast restaurant in a California mountain ski town.
Now,
Wow.
what's fascinating about our story, if you don't mind me popping in here, is that when I was first born, our parents were actually on food stamps and welfare. So, truly, the tale of what so many dream of coming from a place of poverty, a place of lack, a place of struggle, and a place of challenge, and then getting to the point where our parents are in solid careers. You got a landscaper and an advertiser, and then their dream restaurant goes for sale. And as we like to say, they acted super rationally, right? They cashed in everything they could, called in every favor, quit their careers, and we became that restaurant family overnight. Now that was 21 years ago. So you
Wow.
fast forward the 21 years, it has been a wild, dramatic ride of entrepreneurship. And any of our fellow entrepreneurs out there watching knows that it's like a roller coaster. There's high highs and there's low lows, and you're usually screaming every step of the way. But we've seen that single failing breakfast and lunch restaurant go from the one location to now 9 locations open, 3 more under development, and big franchising plans along the way. So the restaurant business is really where we got our entrepreneurial start, but it's not where we stopped, that's for sure.
Yeah. So, friends and family, maybe you guys, if you're here in North America or you've had a chance to visit the Vegas, maybe unbeknownst to you, you went and had a meal at the Squeeze In restaurant chain. And I can tell you, listen, they are known for the absolute best omelets on the planet, and that is no lie. They've got amazing mimosas. The food and the atmosphere and the staff, it doesn't matter which location you're at, absolutely a gem of an experience. And I am just so happy for you guys to hear that you've got more restaurants in the work, people coming in and saying, I want to be a part of this amazing special family. And here you guys are continuing to expand from the moment where your parents said, listen, we're jumping in the deep end, we're going all in on this with the chips, and whatever happens is going to happen. And look how it blossomed and flourished into this thriving business that you guys have.
Well, thank you, Eric. We're proud now to have retired our mom and dad 7 years ago. And
Wow.
Shila and I now are multi-passionate entrepreneurs, both inside the restaurant brick and mortar space and the entrepreneurial education click and order space through online education businesses, as well as being university educators and co-speakers and presenters together. We have got entrepreneurial visions that go even beyond just bacon and eggs.
Oh, that's amazing. And did you catch that, friends and family around the world? Look at that. Kay started to unpack. She's like, listen, we're not just part of that. Let's get into some more. So you just mentioned your university professors. Dive into that. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing there.
Oh my gosh. Well, we have a passion and a heart for education. We always have. We came from those humble beginnings, like we
Mhm.
shared. Now, most kids are getting read the traditional fairy tales and bedtime stories, maybe Harry Potter at night. We were being read The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Our mom had a passion for personal growth and development and instilled in us that same passion, that same thirst for knowledge, that quest for growth. And so that's carried us through both institutional means and
Yeah.
non-institutional means. So I received my degree at the University of Nevada, Reno, my master's degree in sociology, now a professor of sociology there, teaching a couple of classes. Kay and I teach a management and business class at the University of Nevada, Reno as well. And then this quest for knowledge and growth really led us as we were growing the restaurant business. We're one family working the one location. You might wonder, why is it called Squeeze In? Well, it's because the original location is 10 feet wide. So it's basically a hallway with tables. You literally have to squeeze in to enjoy those best omelets on the planet alongside your mimosa. And so we started with the one location. Then our family opened a second location. Then we opened a third. Then we opened a fourth. And then we realized we're out of family and we're out of money and we need help
Wow.
with growth. And so we turned to find some leadership growth material that would help us grow. And we found ourselves in an event and in an organization alongside the leadership expert,
Mhm.
John Maxwell. Maxwell, and that started in 2015. We quickly became part of that organization and started working behind the scenes with them as well. So taking the notes, learning all the leadership stuff, exploding the family business on one side, and then on the other side, helping John and his team architect the marketing system that was helping them grow from 36 million to 90 million and beyond there, and really learning the ropes of what certification and curriculum building would look like. So as we did that, we were able to truly learn for our own business, and then truly learn for our own passion, which is this personal growth and development industry, which is how we found ourselves being the co-founders of the Neuroencoding Institute alongside Joseph McClendon III, which is how we know our friend, our family member, our brother, Mr. Eric Stenlake here. So it's been a fun journey, and no matter what, the thread of education and growth threads through
absolutely,
it all.
absolutely. And thank you for going into all that. That's absolutely amazing. So when I say these are two of the most amazing megapreneurs, now you guys are getting a little bit of taste. Like, holy cow, what else have you done? I don't know. Is there anything like I don't know, a podcast? You guys do a podcast or anything?
Yes, we are sister co-speakers, so we get to present on national stages as well as have our own podcast called The Infinite Energy Show. It's about to release a brand new version of it in the next month or so. We're so excited for our facelift and our refresh. But you can find it anywhere that you listen to podcasts, where we share just our journey and our stories from the front lines of entrepreneurship, of mompreneurship, of sisterhood, and so much more.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. And let me tell you something. I love that. That is my go-to. I love your podcast. I mean, I really, truly do. I have learned so much myself from listening to those podcasts, even back to the early days. Because right here, what I have right here on my little board here for my notes is the 4 main types of thinking, which was one of your early episodes. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so great. And I talk about it all the time with people. So if you haven't seen that Infinite Energy podcast yet, hop on there and go give that a listen, because it's absolutely dynamic. The content that you guys bring to the world is absolutely full of amazing content and so needed, really. Whether you're in the entrepreneurial space or just personal growth for yourself, this is definitely a place that you want to be. So now the Neuroencoding Institute, this, my dear friends and family around the world, is where I met these two fab ladies. And I cannot express to them enough my heartfelt gratitude for doing this and having that vision to create this with Dr. Joseph McClendon III, because this has been an amazing, life-changing event for me as a participant within the Neuroencoding Institute, and going through the whole process of becoming a coach, expanding upon my speaking careers and abilities, and to have two amazing mentors like you guys now in the business side of that in the Neuroencoding Institute, because now you've got the teaching end of that, of which you're bringing to us all there. So give us a little bit of what's going on within the Neuroencoding Institute, because it seems to be changing. And I don't mean it in a bad way. Like, all of a sudden we just brought in this guy called Les Brown. Anybody ever heard of that guy? Like, what is happening within the space of this Neuroencoding Institute? What is it?
The Neuroencoding Institute is a place where Joseph McClendon III's work lives. And Joseph McClendon III is a neuropsychologist who has been serving celebrities, royalty, CEOs, and some of the highest level people for the last 30 years. Now, he's developed a simplified method that he calls neuroencoding that allows other people to learn the method and then become more effective in their coaching and in their presenting. The definition of neuroencoding and what it actually is it is a systematic programming in order to help someone default to their desired emotional state. So if things happen in your life, we like to say, if you get squeezed by life, if what comes out is like not cute juice, right? If it's like, or you're angry, or you get cut off in traffic and you flip somebody off in the process, right? Maybe you could use a new program so that when you get squeezed by life, what comes out is something that you're proud of. Now, Joseph has the most effective system for doing just that, for automatically programming your nervous system to default to your desired emotional states. And so the Neuroencoding Institute was founded around these principles, but we've hit an inflection point in our membership size and in the size of the institution where now we're getting to attract top talent, like you mentioned, Les Brown, like Jay Abraham, the business mentor, to come into the Institute and to teach our members because they say, hey, this stuff works and we want to help it work even further faster.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we've got this picture that has been painted of success, right? And you guys said it a few minutes ago, like, and on top of all of this, we are on stages speaking around the country. We're going to events that we're getting to lead and guide. You guys did the Great Balloon Race. I think that's what it's called. Not too long ago there in Reno. And filling in what just happened yesterday. What was the big news that came out in your world yesterday? What perfect timing to then say it today.
So fun. Well, our restaurant, The Squeeze In, was featured in the Franchise Times magazine for our up and coming emerging concept here and our growth plans for the future. So, really, we're looking at taking this vibe national and global because every community truly deserves a restaurant like Squeeze In. And there's no other restaurant like Squeeze In because it's such a special spot. It's small, it's a little place with a lot of character, it's a small space with big opportunity and big personality. One of the signature things about about the restaurant is that you can sign the walls with a Sharpie. So literally our signature is that you can leave your mark and your signature on the Squeeze In walls, which is a lot of fun. They're decorated eclectic, right? You get to hang bikes from the ceilings and surfboards, and all of the tables and chairs have been collected from the community and from grandparents and parents and people around your town and hometown. And so it's this really special place. And when we got to interview with Franchise Times magazine, they were excited about a lot of these concepts that are different from what we would say maybe our competitors are doing, these very large scale breakfast places or these kind of snooty brunch spots. The Squeeze In isn't one of those things. It's small, it's affordable, it's big personality, it's big profits, and it's big fun. So it's great to get the recognition in Franchise Times magazine, that national coverage about our little brand going big places.
Oh, that's wonderful. And I just want to congratulate you guys because I know that is a huge momentous thing that happened being in that magazine. And so just kudos to you on your success with that. That's absolutely fantastic. So here we are, knowing that you guys have done a gazillion things and life is really easy, smooth sailing for the both of you. We didn't even get into the fact that you guys have families and young kids and yada, yada. And it's just like, man, we are cruising on this entrepreneurial train of which we don't ever really have any hiccups, because we're seasoned veterans, if you will. So I'm going to get into some reality here, if we will. Because we know how the challenges of life that come our way. And so I'm gonna ask, like, knowing where you are as you're looking back and some of the tough times, what would you say are some of the big impact learning pieces that you guys have grabbed onto and said, man, I am so glad this terrible thing happened, or I'm so glad it worked out this way, because what we learned as a family, because you're sisters, what we learned together, like, holy cow, can't even imagine not learning that and going into the future. So what would come to mind that you would share with our friends and family around the world on something like that?
Well, it's wonderful to spend, I think, 20 minutes talking about the successes and the things that we've been able to accomplish. But I want to take you to a very long time ago, this last Saturday, where on Friday night we receive a phone call about a potential break-in at one of the locations. And then all of a sudden in the evening, my son gets sick and he's throwing up everywhere. And then I put him into a bath, and that bath becomes a poopy bath. And now we've got to clean all of that out and make that happen. And then we've got another business issue that happened. And some days, like just 5 days ago, it feels more overwhelming than we can carry. But what we've learned through the process is that, and especially with the work that we've done with Joseph McClendon, is that if our brains are very similar to computers, a computer is going to speak in zeros and ones, and your brain speaks in Q's and A's. And so we have found some really simple questions along the way that have helped us in some of our darkest times. They've come out of our darkest times. But there I was on Saturday cleaning out the poopy bath, saying to myself one of these critical questions. And I know, Shai, we've got 5 of them, but the first one that we'll share with all of you, it's really simple. It's 4 words. And it's, what do I like? What do I like? Because when I almost said a bad word. When the poop hits the fan, right? It goes everywhere, it hits the bath, and you've got to be cleaning it, right? Doesn't matter how successful you are as an entrepreneur, things are still going to be difficult. Sometimes when you're in the midst of that, it can be really hard to shift yourself into being a grateful and happy and energetic human, right? But asking yourself the question, what do I like, can start to redirect things. What do I like? I like that I have a roof over my head right now. What do I like? I like that my son is healthy and happy. What do I like? I like that our businesses are operating without us having to be inside the 4 walls at all of those times. And so we found some really simple ways to help us keep even when things are tough. And they are tough all the time. They're tough more than the successes. That's for sure.
Yeah, I would love to jump in and add to that as well. As I think back on some of those bigger lessons and the things that we just wish we could impart and share with others, we've been in some pretty amazing places, like opulence, incredible, gigantic, but there's never been a house that we've been in where the biggest room isn't the room for improvement. And so whatever house you're in, the biggest room is always the room for improvement. And research will also demonstrate, if you go and look at it, that when you focus on developing your character, it will carry you so much farther than developing your skills or your cognitive abilities or even your relationships. So character development and this idea of self-improvement, of personal growth, really becoming this burning desire inside of you, is something that can carry you, that you can anchor to, and that will give you the ability to get through those tough times. Look, the number one thing that makes us different is that we don't quit. And so many of us want to quit all the time. It's your natural reaction. It's not your fault. It's certainly not your fault, but it's your responsibility to navigate yourself through it. And so when you develop your character, when you intentionally go into that room of improvement and you work on your character, it will pay such larger dividends for yourself than working on another professional skill or another relationship or another certification. This idea that we've got to work on our character so that you get the very, very natural urge to quit, that you have something to fall back on. This is what that neuroencoding piece is all about. It's the neuroencoding is the brain science of how to program your brain to default to that. Because when life is really tough, when it's squeezing you, when it's hard, everything inside of you says, then just give up. You don't have to be here anyways. You didn't choose this. You don't have to be here. You could just walk away from it. You don't deserve this. Right? You've all had that conversation with yourself in your head. And that's that point where we turn to a more empowering question, right? What do I like? What do I want? What is energizing me? All of these very simple questions allow you to just shift that focus and move into that character development piece so that you can keep going. Keep going, because that urge to quit is one of the hardest to resist. But all of your success, all of your 20 minutes of outlining the things that you've done successfully, come out the other side of those moments of getting through it. So those are some of the things that we would say. And then we can't not mention our number one favorite lesson that we learned from Michael Singer's book, The Untethered Soul. And that is that you are not the voice in your head. And that sounds really simple. Like, yeah, I get that. But all of us have this narration that happens inside of our head, right? I guess statistically speaking, the vast majority of us. Some of you freaks out there think in pictures and pictures only, but most of us think in words and think in narration. And we have our little internal narrator that's doing our zeros and ones. Remember, Kay said your brain speaks in Q's and A's. So your brain is just doing what it's meant to do, and it's asking questions, right? And it's, why? We think about this and we think of the question and the answer that are firing back and forth in our head all the time. We begin to relate that to who we are. That is who I am. So if you're asking yourself, why do I suck at this? Why is everyone against me? Why is this so hard? Your brain is programmed to answer that question. So it's doing its job. It's going to answer the question, right? Because you're lazy, because you came from bad circumstances, because you always fail at things, right? It's programmed to give you an answer. And when you realize that you're not that voice, that bless that voice, it's just a function of your evolution. Its job is to narrate your life, to keep you safe, to ask questions, and it's going to default to the questions of keeping you safe, which are negatively oriented questions. Then you can be empowered to step into that room of improvement, focus on your character, and start to train that voice to ask better questions, focus on better things, and ultimately get you through the hard times so you get better results.
Oh, so well said. Thank you guys both for that. Oh man, that was fabulous. I mean, it sounds to me like the two of you have this thing called the neuroencoding edge of life, if you will, right? Because I know for me, going through the Neuroencoding Institute and going through that process, right? What you were just saying about the voices in your head, right? Absolutely. And I have programmed my brain to default to this question because I get the goofiest things that go on up there. I don't even know where they come from. And I got to ask is that true? Is that real? Is that true? Or is it just something looping that came out of left field somewhere? And I think it's reality, but my brain doesn't know the difference. And so it's going to take what I think I know and then try to turn that into reality. So I got to break that pattern. And for me, asking myself if is that true? Is that aligned with what I want? Is that aligned with what I like? And then one thing that I learned, and you mentioned the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, kind of like that stuff, is the power of the pause and pushing the pause button on your life. And so I don't know about you guys, friends and family around the world, but I know I look like me and I'm a guy, but I'm not. I'm really a remote control, right? And so on my remote control, I got the play button, I got a fast forward, I got a rewind, and then I got a pause button here. And for me, I know that when those thoughts start popping in here, I want to default to the programming that is going to get me what I want. And so I go right into pushing that pause button. Step out of that situation and go, wait a minute, is this true? Is this really what I'm thinking? Is this really going to get me the results that I want? And then step back in because now I need to understand what I need to do and what's next. So I would imagine in both of your worlds, on any given day, it's kind of like the Friends episode of when they're trying to move the couch up the stairs. You guys seen this? And Ross is yelling, pivot, right? I mean, if I don't rely on best practices to default to, when I get stuck in that stairwell with that heavy couch, what's going to happen? Or the poopy bath, because Lord knows I've been there myself. I get stuck with that poopy bath. Where am I defaulting to? Like, oh, this is terrible. This is awful. This is ruining my day. Do I have to let that affect me in a way that is going to change the outcome? Whether it's 5 minutes or 5 hours, I want to default to what's going to get me the best results. So when you guys thinking back or thinking in the now or in preparation for what's coming, because it's amazing, as you guys are thinking to your stairwells of life metaphor and that couch on how to pivot around that and make those adjustments and changes, how is that going to really get into navigating directly to what you like, what you want, and then aligning with where you're going? because sometimes it might be minute to minute. I got a poopy bath. I got to get in this right now. I got to make this change right here. Or it's a long-term quarter goal or a half year or a year goal. How does that play out for you guys when you're looking at as megapreneurs?
Well, Shila said the question very quickly earlier, and I'll reiterate it here. And it's one of Joseph McClendon's signature questions. And it's one that most of us have a really difficult time answering. And it's another four-worder, really, really tough, guys. So, just be ready for this to be complicated. The question is, what do I want? Mm-hmm. What do I want? Right? Ultimately, what I want is to be a peaceful, happy, engaged, loving, compassionate leader who is on the front lines of neuropsychology, of fun breakfast, and a variety of things in life, right? And we want these things together. And so when you are in the poopy bath season, right, or if you're in a space that maybe entrepreneurially you're working toward a quarter goal, and it's not coming fast enough, it's not coming as quickly as you want it to come, redirect yourself and ask, well, what is it that I want? What do I want? Well, what I want is to achieve this goal. Mm-hmm. Well, really? Is that what you want to achieve the goal, or is what you want the satisfaction that you get from achieving that goal? And if what you want is the satisfaction, why are you waiting for the goal to feel that way? Bring that into the present moment. Remind yourself with questions like, what do I like? What can I do? What energizes me? What do I want? That help you to continually anchor back into the present. Mm-hmm. This is tough. This is a skill. It is a muscle you have to build. Your thinking is very similar to the muscles inside your body, that they will, it remembers things over time, and your brain is designed to keep you where you are. It is so comfortable at 72 degrees. And when you start turning the heat up on your life, and you start turning the heat up on your world, it says, no, I like 72. I like 72. Let me stay at 72. And your thinking mind might say, this isn't fun. I don't like it. I'm not here for it. And there is a you that must be louder than the voice of your mind that comes through to say, what I want is to live a life of compassion, of joy, of connectedness, of presence. And then ask yourself the question, why wait?
Why wait, indeed. I think that's such a beautiful sentiment to bring forward, Kay. And it helps underscore, too, that many of us focus on a goal or maybe something that's in the world of form that we really want. And understanding that the person who achieves that goal probably looks a little bit different than the person that we are now. And so maybe shifting our thoughts to who do I want to become? Because that allows you to work again on those character skills and to get better at because when times are good, it's easy to be who you want to be, right? It's when times are tough is when it's really going to demonstrate. And so thinking, who is it that I want to become, right? These are the physical material things that I want to achieve. This is kind of the benchmarks I'd like. Who is the person that achieves that? Who is it that I want to become? And then anchoring into that, because the person you want to become, sure, they have all these material things, but they have these character traits inside that you can start working on right now that don't require an investment. They don't require a move. They don't require a change in relationship or a change in your vehicle. They require you to start becoming that person. And that can be a little bit easier, ironically, more tangible than the tangible results. So who do I want to become is a helpful question to maybe help kick you into some of that gear so that you can pivot when you're in the stairwell with your couch, right? Who is it that I want to become? What is it I want? And who is it that I want to become? And then realizing that as a incredible human being, you've been gifted with this ability to co-create. And so we're using the laws of attraction and the laws of magnetism and the laws of creation that are available to us to create that reality. But what so many of us do is say, well, what do I want? Well, today I want this. And then I'm not going to touch that goal for 4 months. And then, oh yeah, I said I wanted to make $1 million. I'm going to try that. And I want it, and you're focusing on it for a little bit, and then you come off of it. And so we're not allowing that consistent energy to build up and build through us so that we're able to bring that to fruition, which of course then feeds those questions of, well, why am I such a failure and why can't I get this done? And we get ourselves stuck into a negative loop. So who do I want to become? And then allowing ourselves to stay focused on that outcome, even through the hard stuff, even through the poopy bathtubs, even through the tough times that when you're in business, like in a restaurant business, right? We do 8 figures in business. We have over 200 employees. Like it's a big business. It's everyone tells you in the beginning when you have a business, it's not if you
Right.
get sued, it's when. So now having been through
Mhm.
our fair share of legal troubles, we can tell you that those things come up, those challenges come forward, and
Yeah.
they can shake you in the bedrock. But if you've got this, who do I want to become? What am I focused on continuously? And what do I want? That can allow you to get through some of
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
tougher
Thank you
times.
so much for diving into that. Man, you just brought up so many great tips and tools for everyone out there. And Emily and Michael, you guys are on. Great to have you here with us. Thanks for jumping into the comments. Hey, share with us a little bit about what was just being said there with Shy. Like, where are you going? What is it that you want for yourselves this year? What is it that you're going after? Drop those comments in the chat there. We would greatly appreciate it. I could tell you, my dear friends, that I am so elated that this year, for the first time, I picked a word of the year. And I don't know if you guys have gone through this process. And I'm like, of course I have, right? Yeah, of course, right? And you're like, what? Like I set my goals and I do that, and I go through that process every year, of course. But I love that I have had that time to sit back with myself and really understand what is it that I want. What is it that I want to look back on the year and say, what was I able to accomplish? And it came down to one word for me, and that is the word is impact. And so this year, 2024, is really the year of which I look back and say, impact. What impact have I made on myself, others, and the world around me? The definition of psychology, yes. And being able to take that then into, and at the time, I really wasn't. I really wasn't thinking about it, but how magically, well, intentionally, it aligned with my I am statement. And my I am statement is I am a champion of power, hope, energy, and love. If I follow that path, how is that going to help me be as impactful as I can to myself, others, and the world around me? Then I took that and I aligned it with everything in my wheel of life. How do I take that and look at these areas of improvement of which I want to move the needle of progression to in that self-improvement piece? And I know for you guys, I can't even imagine. You guys probably have a whole wall in your house with all of your businesses and things lined up with all of this mapped out for everything of which you want to make your impact in, if you will. But thinking about the restaurant, thinking about your speaking career, thinking about your families, like what's the challenge of thinking about, holy moly, we have so many goals. I don't know. We got goals on goals. How are we going to get all these goals? They're all over the place. I got goals. They're hanging out for the chandelier. Like, how do you guys take this massive, massive task of all of these goals in all of these businesses and corral them into a main focus?
Well, it hasn't always been easy. It's something that we've struggled with a lot, realizing that we've been victims of shiny object syndrome
Yeah.
and setting
Yeah.
too many goals. First and foremost, that confessional. But I'll share my word of the year because I think that it helps demonstrate how we are able to sometimes juggle these multiple goals. And before I share my word, I'll tell you that when people ask us, how do you do it all? We say we don't. We absolutely do not do it all. We have incredible teams. We have amazing support networks. We have just an
We have each
extensive
other.
network of systems and people. We have each other, right? Yeah. we have systems and networks and people in place to help us do and achieve so many things. So the first, is that that's a myth. We don't do it all. But my word of the year of 2024
Mm,
is harmony. And this word comes forward because we don't always love
right.
the notion of balance. If we think about the idea of balance, balance is really this. It's kind of you're forever focusing on it, and if one thing goes one way,
Mhm.
you've got to readjust, and you're on the tightrope, and you're focusing on the tightrope, and
Yeah.
like balance is too much
Yeah.
pressure. Honestly, we think, and so my word for the year and the focus for the year is harmony, because what harmony means is that sometimes the restaurant goal is all consuming,
Sure.
and even family has to sacrifice it sometimes for the restaurant goal, and sometimes family becomes your first and foremost focus, and the Neural Coding Institute has to
Mhm.
fade to the background for a while we focus on those things. So being able to find harmony with what it is that's currently happening and what takes highest priority is one of the best ways for us to stay focused on the multiple goals and the multiple outcomes. But harmony is a two-part meaning here, because it's about that harmony within all of the different competing forces, but it's all it is that you want to become, right? Because who it is you want to become has achieved all of those goals. And so rather than focusing on the 58 goals, we're focusing on who I want to become, which is probably this
Mm,
collection of 6 to 8 character traits, right? I want
mhm.
to be a heart-centered person. I want to be active in my life. I want to learn and grow. I have my 8 completely memorized in H.E.R, right? I want these things to be in harmony. And so I have to harmonize as an energetic being, harmonize with it, who it is that I want to become and what it is that I want to achieve. And so focusing on that continuous harmony with that allows you to have things flex and pull, and be in harmony in a way that's authentic and true to you. So that would be my take on that. Sis, how about for you?
Yeah.
I think there can also be a tendency for us when things are difficult, or even when maybe we feel a little uncomfortable with where we are, to start kind of thrashing in the water and say, "This is not how things are supposed to be, right? This isn't how it's supposed to be going down." And you kind of get
Yeah.
into this complaining zone. But I want to just encourage everyone who's watching here that you are exactly where you are supposed to be. Now, that might sound a little bit simple, but like, think about this a little deeper. You are exactly where you are supposed to be, because if you weren't supposed to be there, you wouldn't be there.
Mhm.
You wouldn't have the challenges if you weren't supposed to have them. The difficulty wouldn't be there if you weren't supposed to come across it. And so sometimes when the family has to take center stage and you can't accept the phone call because you're having to deal with a spouse issue or a child issue or whatever, and you can't do a business phone call, or you have to cancel a meeting because you're taking care of a sick kid, or you have to say to the kid, "I can't go play with you because I have to take an important meeting," right? In those moments, it can be so easy to say, "This isn't how it should be," or "I'm not doing a good job as a mom or a business owner," or whatever it is. But remember, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. And if you weren't meant to be there, you wouldn't be. So anchoring into that helps us to kind of reorient with presence into even the moments of pain. And my word for this year, it's actually 2 words, and it's connected joy. Now, it
Mm,
initially came forward as just joy, and I was like, "Ooh, joy is so fun. I'm so glad that's my word for 24." And then this idea of connected joy came into play, because it was about connecting to joy even in the moments where my internal self is starting to thrash a little bit. For
right.
example, my
Mhm.
dishwasher here in my apartment has broken. It has been broken for about 2.5 weeks. I want you to imagine being a single mom of 2 children with a broken dishwasher. Now, this morning, I just could not bring myself to do it last night. I had a sink full of dishes, but I could not do it before bed last night. Hey, I was where I was supposed to be, right? I needed to go to
Yeah.
sleep. And this morning I got up and I'm doing the dishes. And it took me 40 minutes to get through all of the dishes that were in my sink. And about halfway through, I'm like, and I'm scrubbing the dishes.
Of
Like,
course.
what is going on with this, right? But then I remembered that I am exactly where I'm supposed to be. And in this moment, I have an opportunity to choose whether I'm going to connect to joy or whether I'm going to connect to the pain. Both things are present. Both options are here for us, but being able to connect into what our desired state is takes a little bit of intentionality, and sometimes takes a reorientation around just accepting that you are exactly where you're meant to be.
Oh man, thank you both for that. And I love your words. And It makes perfect sense for each of you that you chose them, and I love that. And trying to find that cliche of that work-life balance. This year, I'm going to have a better work-life balance. It really is there ever such a thing as a balance? You ever get in balance? I don't know. I don't know if you're ever in balance, but I know I can harmonize between my different areas, of which that then brings about that connective joy. And so I love that you guys went there, and I think that's beautiful. Thinking about our friends and family around the world, the viewers that we have on here literally are an enormous global community. We love you. And wherever you guys are around the world this year, at this particular moment, as Kay said, you're right where you are supposed to be. And I can guarantee you that there are those out there that are in some really, really challenged areas, geographically and internally. And for us to send you a bit of encouragement, if you will, to get into those spaces and begin to understand why you're there, and then how can you learn from being in that spot? Where is the connected joy? How do I find harmony? How do I make an impact? Keep going with words that will bring about some peace and calm and comfort for you in those places and moments. And then being able to say, what do I want? What matters most to me? What is my bigger burning yes fire in my core of which I want to go after, and then go after that? If it means packing up and going to someplace else, go and do it. If it means changing that job so you can have that joy, you can build that harmony and that peace back in your life and make an impact, go and do it. We're not locked into where and what we are in, but go and make things happen for us. This is that spirit of the entrepreneurial mindset, if you will. To me, for sure. Is going out and making it happen, understanding what I need to do to bring about some of that change, which is going to help me be the best version of myself that I can be. And man, I know you guys, this year is going to be, I was so excited to turn the corner to 2024. I felt like 23 was kind of weird. I don't know about you guys. I felt like it was a little bit something wasn't right. I was totally stoked to hit 24. And I'm like, yeah, let's do this. And New Year's Eve, I got COVID and it was down for a week. And I'm like, bro, really? Seriously? This is how we're going to roll into 24? And then I said, well, okay, what's the good in this? I lost 5 pounds. I'm like, hey, listen, I got a jump start on my health goals, which was to drop some poundage. So, hey, kudos to COVID. That was a great way to drop 5 pounds in 4 days. I'll take it. And now I'm jumping on and moving forward. I think for you guys, you're very inspirational, both of you, to me. You hold a very, very special, dear place in my heart. And it's fabulous to see you guys not only talking the talk here and on stage, but watching you walk the walk as humans, as moms, as family members, because you're both, got your rise and rest routines down. You're there first thing in the morning working out, which, oh my God, I love Shai puts like, hey, I'm on the treadmill. It's 5:30 in the morning and it's like hell froze over down here. It's like 18 degrees. Like, I'm going to die, but I'm going to do it because that bigger yes is burning inside. And to both of you, I mean, it's fabulous to see you guys doing that. If we could leave our listeners around the world something, 30 pounds in 8 days for me, LOL. Yeah, CJ, go for it. Well, maybe not in 8 days, but hey, talk to me. We'll work out a plan for you. If we could leave our listeners with a bit of challenge or charge, if you will, what would be something that we would leave our listeners with today?
I'll start it off with a challenge. It was one that was presented to me recently that I've just been chewing on, and I hope that all of you and the audience can chew on this as well. You say what you want, you have these goals, you have this maybe vision of who you want to be. If somebody came and observed your life over the last 7 days, like Truman Show style, came in and watched all of your activities for 24 hours over 7 days, would they be able to say back to you what your goal is and what it is that you're headed towards?
Mhm.
And I'll leave you with that challenge, because if not, then you probably have room to grow.
And then
Beautiful.
I'll wrap us out here and just say you are capable of more than you think. Your worst days, you've probably already faced a lot of really hard things, which means you are incredibly capable of facing more. And so when times are easier, or maybe you're looking to grow, that's your opportunity to step up and lean in, because you've already had 100% of your days successfully gone through, and many of them have been difficult, which means you have the ability to continue to do more.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Listen, today was absolutely phenomenal. Kay and Shai, thank you so much for being here. You're an absolute joy and blessing in my life. And I just thank you for all the amazing things that you do. And congrats on all of your amazing success. And 24 is going to kill it. It's going to be phenomenal. Thank you guys for tuning in around the world. I just want to remind you this show can also be heard on the Spanglish Radio Network. Please check it out at spanglishworld.ca for all the news and programming. Spanglish World, watch it, hear it, read it, download it, live it. Thanks so much for being here. We'll see you soon.